What's up, everyone? I'm James Baney, and you're watching the Clone Wars Fan Show. Today we're going to be talking about Season 7, Episode 3, On the Wings of Keeradaks. Alright, so first things first, we gotta rate the episode as we normally do. So no spoilers as of now. I gave the first episode a 7.5 clones out of 10, and I gave the second episode 8. I think this episode falls in at about a 7.5. So I'm going to try to stick as best I can to the half ratings, but I'm not really sure that this one was better than that second episode. That second episode was exciting because I think there was something very real about them getting in to the establishment. And this one is all about getting out of the establishment. And there is something, I don't know, I think very truthful about like when you're headed to Disney World and you're excited and it's interesting and you're looking forward to it. And then when everything's all done and you're getting out, it's just not as exciting. And we can get into the details of the episode, but 7.5 is still fairly decent. And I'm a little bit afraid that I kind of went too high on the end, because I'm thinking if these basic get started episodes are somewhere around the 7s and the 8s, then when it gets like really good with Maul and Ahsoka and there's like more dramatic storylines, that we're going to end up in a place where, I don't know, like there's not a lot of headroom. So I'm being very real about this episode, and I'm bringing it back down to 7.5, keeping it just about the same as the Bad Batch, with just kind of an introduction to the characters and not a whole lot happening in this episode that is detrimental to the bigger storyline. But let's get into the real spoilers of it. I know it's kind of a trope that they shut the doors and they like hit the panel, which I always think is funny. Hitting the panel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I always feel like hitting the panel does whatever you need the door to do. So like blasting it will open up the doors if they need it, and also like blasting it will keep the doors shut if they need it. I don't know, it just always seems convenient to whatever they need to do, but they shut the doors and they fuse them shut, and I liked the angles. Just to be clear about the whole episode, I love a lot of the cinematography that they did for this episode. They're doing a lot of like really cool, like what you would expect warlike cinematography to be, but they fuse off this door, and one thing that I really think is cool is being able to see through the door and see the armies on the other side. That's really neat. I didn't like later. I'll jump ahead a little bit. I didn't like later that when inevitably they cut through that first door, they back up to a very convenient second door. I don't really know what the point of that was. I guess to show how efficiently that droid was able to get through a door, but I also feel like showing I don't know, that it was taking like half the time, but it was still like really fast paced, like could have been edited differently. I don't know why there's 2 sliding doors there. It just seems very odd and convenient for our heroes. It is funny though when Wat Tambor goes good, like Vader or whatever, good, like, I don't know, I like that. I thought that was funny. So this is interesting. In my notes I wrote this down, and then I guess they kind of explain it a little bit later in the episode, so we'll talk about this, but I think it's weird that like Echo like is remembering the Citadel. He's like, oh yeah, we're at the Citadel still, you know, and then they kind of pull some wires or whatever, and then he just like snaps back, but he's also very quickly like, where am I? Oh wait, there's an exhaust port that can lead us out to the, you know, he knows like the whole escape route. I thought that was really weird. And then I guess like I said, a couple scenes later, they're like, how do you know this stuff? And he's like, well, I was able to kind of tap into their maps or whatever. Okay, I guess. He seems very normal after coming out of that. I almost half expected him to be someone that it was, I don't want to say escort mission, but, you know, like they're trying to get this guy out here and he's liability, or he's slowing them down, or he's not with it yet, so they got to throw him over the shoulder or something. But he comes out of this thing and he's like, oh, what's up, guys? Yeah, it's been a little while since I've seen you. And yeah, I know everything about this facility, so let's go ahead and just get out of here. You know, I don't know. It just, Echo became Echo too quickly, I think. But I bet if I gave some time and thought about it, it would kind of make sense as like, I don't know, he just woke up, I guess. I do like this little escape thing. I think it's interesting. It opens up with that spiral thing that we're seeing, I feel like fairly commonly now. Those little spiral open up doorways. Maybe they were in the Clone Wars pretty regularly before. But I do like this whole like toss a guy up and then they're pinned there. Kind of reminded me of Moana a little bit. And then, yeah, because Star Wars needs to be related to Moana. But it did remind me of that. And then you get Anakin up there. He just force jumps up there. And then I thought it was cool that he brought Breaker up using the Force. And Breaker's like, I don't know what's going on. But it's kind of, he's managing the team of like, you only got a couple more seconds. I got to get you out of there. And he just pulls him out. I think that's cool. And I like when the Force is used like that. Almost as if Anakin's kind of, like I said, the leader of the situation, and whenever his pieces are misstepping, he's kind of like, no, don't go over there. You know what I mean? He kind of pulls him back, kind of thing. I thought that was cool. And then they get out on this pipe thing, and I don't know if it's me, but I feel like the intention here was kind of an Indiana Jones thing. Like he's going down the path and they're moving along, and then all of a sudden they're caught on one end, they're caught on the other end, and they're stuck between the two. It kind of reminded me of Indiana Jones. But I gotta say, MVP of these last 3 series, he's got to be my favorite. Tech. I mentioned him before that they crap all over this guy. He once again like massively saves the day here and says, oh, I record everything. So he recorded the sound effects of the Keeradaks and was able to, I guess, sort out some sort of call for help, and magically exactly enough of them show up to rescue them and get them out of there. I think the jump is a little weird. Like how are we supposed to get on the backs? Oh, we're supposed to jump. Are you serious? Okay, here I go. Jumps. And it's like, I would be like, dude, I need you to be for real right now. Am I supposed to jump off this? I don't know. But it's supposed to be quick. It's a kid show. And he jumps off, and they all manage to land on top of the backs. I got to assume the Keeradaks are also like helping them. Like, he jumped terribly, but I'm going to figure my way on here. And they are off. They get away from this situation. Or do they? Call me crazy, but I feel like there's a perfect opportunity here to have thrown in a they fly now joke. I understand somebody's like, nah, we didn't want to do that, or nah, we couldn't do that, or nah, we didn't even know that was happening at the time when we made these. And I totally get that, but it was very set up to be. We've watched these things for 2.5 episodes, these droids, and there was never an impression that they flew. And so they think they're getting away by flying away, and then all of a sudden they start flying. I feel like it's a perfect opportunity for a they fly now joke. I don't know. Maybe a small missed opportunity. This also was weird too, because they're flying and they're getting lasers shot at them, and Anakin turns around and he's like, oh my God, like, they're almost going to hit us. So he deflects like 7 blaster bullets, and then he's just like, oh, well, he turns around. And then I'm like, so they just got bad aim again now that you turn around? I don't know. Anyway, I'm being real nitpicky about this stuff, but this is me watching the episode. This is me thinking like, where's the cool stuff? And I'm like, come on, that's a little weird, you know? So, but he's like, I got an idea or whatever. And then they're like flying away. And one of the 4 flying droids crashes into a wall. And then they're like, all right, good, we're safe. And I'm like, what happened to the other 3? Like, the other 3 didn't hit the wall. The other 3 were like hard on your tail. I don't get this. Then they do like a time swipe, and they're like kind of casually flying back, and they land in the city area of the native species. And then they show the other 3 droids, and I'm like, did they just not know that there was more than one following them? That's weird. And I guess the other 3 droids just assumed like, oh shoot, that one hit a wall. You know what? Let's just back off and watch and see where they go, and then call in reinforcements. I guess that kind of makes sense, but it wasn't like they caused that one droid to die. It was like that droid just didn't understand clouds and ran into a wall. I don't know. Also, this native species seems very easily convinced. Like, they land and they're like, yo, we know we're bringing the war to you, but look at that guy. Look at how messed up he is. He's like really messed up. So you're going to like fight with us and whatnot? And they're like, we're going to fight with you. And I'm like, seriously, like this started with get off of our land. And then they were very easily able to convince them to lead them in the right direction and give them help. And now all of a sudden when they bring the war back to them, they're like, yeah, I guess we were neutral, but like, we'll go ahead and fight now. So it's a little weird, but they do this whole plot, I don't know, and then when everybody shows up and when they bring in the reinforcements, they're right there and ready to shove a giant rock that's going to roll down a hill and knock out like 3 droids. I don't remember if it knocked out like a ton of them or not, but I just thought like your first line of attack is getting the big guy to roll a giant rock down a hill. Like that's going to help a lot. I don't know. But then after that, it gets into some really cool, like, battle scene where, you know, a lot of the different Bad Batch members get cool scenes, like Hunter, like, doing his slicing, and he's using 2 knives and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool after that, I'll admit. Pretty cool. One scene that I really liked, actually, was, so they bring in the reinforcements, and they're all showing up at this native's town. I forget what the species is called, but, these, like, the giant, like, spider IG looking spinny droid ones, there's 2 of them. They call them walkers. They show up, and there's this scene where they, like, pans up to the top of a mountain, and it shows what I believed immediately to be Anakin, Rex, and Echo, which I thought was really cool. But then I see Anakin calls down to Rex, and I was like, wait, who was that? And it turns out that it's the sniper one. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The sniper from the Bad Batch. But very cool scene of like the 3 of them. I don't know why Echo's up there. Again, I'm still just trying to figure out, like, he seems totally fine. I just think that's odd. I feel like he should be like by Rex's side, but he's not. He's like fighting, and he's fighting with Anakin and stuff. I don't know. Maybe Anakin was like protecting him or something, but they're up on top of this thing, and he calls down. He's like, we got to take these things out. And of course he does the Anakin thing. He jumps off, does the flip, lands on the thing, starts cutting things off. And I'm like, this is cool. I like this. This definitely reminds me of, you know, I guess you could say Attack of the Clones meets Revenge of the Sith Anakin. The little bit of a showboaty and very capable Jedi. I like that. That was very cool. And he even later does a thing where he like pushes it. He like jumps off, and you're like, dang, that was pretty cool. And then he like pushes it over with the Force, and it's like, that's definitely double cool now. And he knocks it into the other one, and they knock and they crash, and that's pretty awesome. Not gonna say that Wat Tambor is like one of the coolest or more capable or more interesting members of the Confederacy, but I think his line here is very childlike. I noticed that a couple times in this episode that he says lines that you're like, that seems very plot driven, you know, like, no, they stole my clone, you know, and stuff. And this one thing here was like, what I wrote it down, the loss of the clone is a devastating blow to the Techno Union's profit margin. And he says, we must recoup on our investment. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem like something you would say. You know, I don't know. He's like half robot guy, I guess. I don't know. It just didn't seem like something somebody would say, and it kind of took me out. I'm like, you just heard this news, and your first response to it is, oh man, the loss of a clone is a devastating blow to the Techno Union's profit margin. It's like he referred to himself as like a whole. I don't know. It's weird, right? It's weird, right? All right, so we're at the end of the episode. And we got this, chat between Rex and Echo, and he has this thing. He's like, hey, we're gonna get you fixed up. You're gonna come back into the army, and it's gonna be just like the old times. And Echo has this response that is like, yeah, just like the old times. And it's like after Rex has kind of walked away, I was confused by this line. I don't know if the intention is supposed to be, am I supposed to feel good about like Echo's return in the sense that like he feels like he's back home. Like he's like, yeah, we did it. I'm glad that I got out of there, and I'm glad that it's just like the old times. Like I'm home. That's the vibe that I think they're trying to imply. But also, it very well could be the exact opposite of that and seem very devious. And he's like, yeah, just like the old times, you know? And I'm like, but it was just delivered so flat that I don't know what I'm supposed to feel here. So, on to predictions. I don't know. I guess my gut is this is the end of this arc. And maybe in the next episode, they'll show a little bit about Echo, but like potentially he's kind of wrapped for the season. I don't know. Also, maybe he is like still like tied into the system and he's going to sell him out or something. I have no clue. I think like I would have a something to step off if I understood what the intention of that last line is. And maybe it's delivered exactly perfectly. That's supposed to be this perfect line between like he's home, he's been saved, and he's grateful for that, versus like he actually has devious things that he's planning. I don't know. What would I like to see? I'll tell you what I wouldn't like to see. I don't want to see Echo just disappear. I don't want this to be, conveniently, this was the end of those 3 episodes, and just like in typical Clone Wars fashion, then we just skip to something else. I would like to see all of this keep going and pick up from there, and Echo still be relevant and figuring out his role in the Republic post being part of this thing, and maybe even having some information on the enemy. Because again, like I said, this is the end of the Clone Wars, or we're getting really close to the end of the Clone Wars. So theoretically, he could be the key to, and that would be cool too, he would be the key to solving or ending some of the major battles, of course, resulting in a swift sway again with Order 66. But, we'll get into all those details. So that's it. That's the wrap on this episode of the Clone Wars fan show. So if you guys would take the time, please, to like the video, potentially subscribe to the channel if you like Star Wars and Star Wars Newsnet content. We're doing the Resistance broadcast every Monday and Thursday. So that's a lot of stuff that you can, participate in, comment on, get in the discussion, join the Resistance, if you will. And then every once in a while we'll do other fun things like rumor reviews and Lacey's Outpost, and obviously the Clone Wars fan show. You can follow along with us. But for this specific episode, I want you guys to tell me your favorite parts of the episode, what you thought. Give me your rating. And I like to know the context, so maybe give me ratings of other episodes if you haven't already. But talk a little bit about your likes and dislike in Season 7, Episode 3, and let's start a discussion. I would love to talk with you guys. And until the next episode, see you later.